Consistency comes before excellence in every kitchen. Over my years and in my training, I often hear many a chef say that they don't want to lower their standards, especially when it comes to training their team. And look, I would never recommend a chef lower their standards for no reason whatsoever, or even permanently. But here's the thing, that mentality, if left unchecked, is keeping the team dependent on you. Or worse, it's causing them to disengage and even disconnect entirely. I'm Gerald Ford, one of less than 80 certified master chefs in the United States, and after 30 years in the food service industry, hiring, training, and executing in food service operations around the world with hundreds of cooks, and now with my coaching and training programs for culinary leadership, I'm here to share critical lessons that I've learned the hard way through trial and error. I help professional chefs do it better, faster, run their operations so that the operation can't run them. Stick around, because by the end of this video, I'll share the 6-step hierarchy that's allowed me to learn to modify my expectations, prioritize consistency, and scale the team up to excellence. And if you're only going to take away one thing from this video, I want you to take away the idea that excellence isn't built by aiming higher, it's built by practicing lower. Now, let's get into it. We're going to start with the trap of high standards without systems. High standards do not equate to operational excellence. As chefs, we often say that we have high standards because in a lot of ways, it's a badge of honor. But when high standards meet low or non-existent systems, you get burnout, you get bottlenecks, oftentimes you get both. And what I've found is this: high standards and expectations without explainable systems don't create excellence, they build dependence. And yes, that looks like your team waiting for you to do their job because they believe that you think that they can't do it as good as you can. Keep in mind that a team can't rise to the expectations. They're always going to fall to their level of training. Consistency is the real game changer. Consistency isn't just about doing the same thing, it's about a system that supports reliable excellence, from product ordering to prep to plate-up. Let's break that down into smaller bites, right? So let's think about consistency and execution, which comes from well-developed, researched, and documented recipes, which require consistent scaling. And without management, you won't get that automatically. It's a consistency and it's a training problem. Consistency in service requires consistent station setup, requires consistent time management, which requires repetition. And station setup requires consistent mise en place. It requires consistent storage and consistent utilization. Then there's the consistency in thinking. Shared language, vocabulary, rituals of the kitchen, a clear, this is how we do it here approach, because no two places are ever exactly the same. Any inconsistency in there, and there's going to be an inability to execute. I want you to think about excellence as the reward for those who respect repetition, for those that respect consistent execution. So, where do we get it wrong? I was there. I know I've done it wrong many times over. I believe that we skip the most important phase, which is laying the foundation that makes excellence even possible. So let's talk about the real path to excellence. And the real path to excellence isn't linear. Most chefs, I believe, myself included, think that the path looks like you get better at cooking, you get promoted, you demand excellence, and you hope that the team catches up. But, as my dad used to say, hope is not a strategy. It's a default that you have zero control over. And as a leader, I'm not paid to execute through defaults. But here's what the journey really looks like. And it's taken me some years to be able to kind of explain it this way. Executive chefs have an operational pyramid, a hierarchy of needs, so to speak. And unless the base is strong, the top is gonna collapse. So let me walk you through it. This is what I would call the chef's hierarchy of operational needs. And down at the bottom we have level 1, which is what I call survival mode. Basically, survival mode looks like you don't have enough staff. And so in survival mode, if you don't have enough staff, product, or a functioning space, you're just trying to stay afloat and living a life as a firefighter. Not throwing any shame because my dad was a firefighter, but we are supposed to be doing chef stuff, not putting out fires constantly. And you can't survive if your head's underwater. So what this means is that if you're stuck here, you need to make base level decisions to fix critical staffing, product, and kitchen issues. If the oven doesn't work, it needs to be fixed. And it's pretty urgent, right? Nothing really matters after that. If your lead won't execute their job, well, then you basically don't have a lead. You have another cook that's not doing what you need them to do, and they're working against you. Not enough portions of salmon for tonight's party? Hope you're starting to see the picture, right? These are survival mode problems, and regardless of your standards, nothing else matters beyond that if these issues aren't corrected. Those are level 1 problems. When those issues are squared away, it's possible to start working on level 2, which is what I call stabilization. Here, Mies is a hit or a miss. It's a step up from survival mode, but it's starting to get in a place where things are starting to stabilize. Or, if you're slipping down the pyramid, destabilize. In this place, you're generally firefighting less, but you're still going to feel unsteady because staffing is still unpredictable, but at least a majority of the shifts are getting covered as opposed to in survival mode. See what I mean? In survival mode, when staff is unpredictable, it's impossible to think about anything else. Now, the focus at level 2 is to stop the bleeding and learn to sort and prioritize the fires that are going on because they're still happening. You gotta handle what you must, assign what you must, schedule what you must, and in some cases, you might have to let some of the little ones burn while things are stabilizing. And when the big fires subside, then you can start to work on level 3, what I call consistency. Consistently okay is better than occasionally good. Hear me out. Consistency is about routines, repetition, and predictability. And we can't start talking about those things when we have pressing, urgent, constant fires. And that's why this is a level 3 thing. When you've got predictability and repetition from the team and for the guest, you have something special and you're starting to move in the right direction. And that takes time to build because what we are actually building is a culture. Culture by example. You're doing it and showing it as you go. Weak culture cannot survive firefighter mode. Keep in mind that consistency does not exist without management and stabilized delivery of a culture, of product, of staff showing up, and with equipment that functions. And this is why I like to say that consistency has to happen before excellence. Because we still got a few more steps up the pyramid. After consistency comes level 4, what I refer to as integration. This is where team trust, accountability, and ownership start to develop because you're building it on top of those other layers. In this level, leadership, the team, and the operation are all falling into alignment and they're all integrating together. And that's where the team starts to trust the predictability of the leadership, the processes, and each other. None of that happens overnight. Delegation normalizes with integration. And this is where those standards stand a chance of getting executed because the staff starts to feel invested because the existing systems support their development. Something I'd like you to remember here is that if it's always you, it's not a team. And if it's always you, consistency is going to go out the window pretty quickly. Even if your standard is super high, the people that are around you, if you're leading them, are probably not at that same level. And when all of that's in place, we can get to legitimate confidence, or level 5. And that comes from climbing the pyramid from the bottom up, knowing that if it ever happens again, you're equipped to navigate that journey up the pyramid again. Now, I've found that with genuine confidence in the operation and systems, you now operate with freedom because the kitchen is performing and you're no longer needed to be the hero on a constant basis. You're the architect, you're the strategist, you're watching things happen and guiding them through your leadership and management. When that happens, you need to make fewer decisions, but you get to make more important ones for the longer term. Confidence is letting your system speak louder than your voice. And once all of that is in place, and only when all of that is in place, it's possible to build level 6, legacy. This is building something that you are going to leave behind, and that's where excellence becomes a part of the conversation, because the team and the culture can now relate to it. If you're too far in front, you lose people, and you need to build them to a point where they can relate and understand and trust that you're guiding them on the right path with a proven track record. And that happens by having systems, culture, and style to pass on. You get to lead leaders because you've built them. And not only that, but more will seek you out because of your track record. Now you get to work on the operation, not constantly being sucked into it. And this is where I found that incredible feeling of fulfillment, thriving, and peace. Now, at the end of it all, excellence is built on structure, not chaos. Creativity and freedom get to thrive in that structure, not from improv, but from the systems that we've built. So now let's bring it full circle. At the beginning of this video, I told you that excellence isn't built by aiming higher, it's built by practicing lower. What we've walked through today is the real work of becoming excellent. Not by setting lofty standards and hoping that the team catches up, but by laying a groundwork that makes those standards executable, repeatable, relatable, and real. Because when you build consistency first, you unlock confidence. You get to build a team that not only you can trust, but trusts you. And you create a kitchen that doesn't need you to micromanage every move. That's not lowering your standard, that's honoring them by building systems that make them actionable through the team. And that starts with building a structure for consistency. Now, if you're ready to stop firefighting, build a structure for consistency, and learn to lead a kitchen that runs on clarity, consistency, and execution, this is what I help executive chefs do every day, and I can help you with my program, Beyond the Food. If you're interested, click the link in the description below to schedule a call and find out more. And if you want to learn more about how I cure chaos in the kitchen, check out this video. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.